Okay guys, here's another video that I'm making to help explain transformations of functions. This will be a very short video because we're really going to focus only on reflections. Reflections over the x-axis and reflections over the y-axis. So first I've started with my function in blue, h of x equals x squared plus 1. And here again, as in the previous video, I have a set of potential transformations with 4 parameters A, B, C, and D. Right now I've graphed the graph x squared plus 1. And I've set my parameters. D is 0, meaning I'm not going to shift the function that's here up any, although this function was shifted up above 1 from the parent function. A is set at 1, so I'm multiplying by 1. B is set at 1, so I'm multiplying by 1. And C is set at 0, so I don't have any horizontal shift. I merely want to look at what happens when I change A from positive 1 to negative 1. And when I do that, you'll start to see the other function that I do have sort of underneath this blue one, the red one. So what happens to the red one when I multiply A by negative 1? We're getting pretty close. There it is. Okay. Now, because the multiplication was by a factor of 1, forgetting about the sign, the function retains the exact same shape. It doesn't shrink or stretch. It doesn't compress. But what happens, this negative 1 has the effect of reflecting my graph over the x-axis. Because we're talking about a multiplication outside the function, my graph, the y value was affected, and what happened to the y value? It went from positive to negative for any individual point. So the point 1, 2 became the point 1, negative 2. Just the y value was affected, which in effect creates a reflection over the x-axis. Now, I'm going to set A back to 1 again and look at a second possible reflection, the reflection over the y-axis. To do that, it helps to change this original function to something such as this function is the function we're now going to look at. The quantity x minus 2 squared. This function makes it a little easier to see what is happening when we reflect over, when we change B from positive to negative, when we look at a transformation of this B inside the function when we merely change its sign. So we're not going to change the size of the graph because we're really talking about sticking with negative 1, with 1 or negative 1. But when we change B from 1 to negative 1, we can see that our graph reflected over the y-axis. The point 2, 0 became the point negative 2, 0. The point 3, 1 became the point negative 3, 1. So changing this value of B from positive to negative created a reflection over the y-axis, and as long as the absolute value of B stayed at 1, the graph itself didn't compress or shrink, its x values were affected. An x value of 2 became an x value of negative 2. And that's really all that's happening with reflections.